And yes, it's my intentional parenting journey with Esther Etim. Now we're having Esther Etim in the building. She's been having a bit of a network hitch here and there, but I am sure that our guest is going to sort that out in no time. As we wait for our guest to, be well positioned, I can see her. She's actually in the stream, but she just needs to be well positioned to be able to sort out all of the issues on her, tech and her video and all of that, so that she will be able to share her journey with us. And I want to ask you today, were you able to listen to my intentional parenting journey yesterday? Oh my goodness. We were all blown away. We didn't want to go. We didn't want to let it finish if you were not there. I please beg you, find your way and go and catch replay after this session. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you see me? If you can, let me see your comments right in the comment section telling me that you can see me, you can hear me, and that you are following through with me. Thank you so much again and again for being part of my intentional parenting journey. And it's been such a delight interviewing different people, others from all walks of life, and all of them sharing different perspective to what it is their life is being like in the past, some 2 years. Some have their journeys in 10 months. Chinenye shared her journey of just 10 months in the inner circle. Some have their journeys in 5 years. Yesterday, Tani shared her journey of 5 years. I want you to pay attention. Today, we have Esther Buki all the way from Lagos, and she's going to be sharing her journey today. Esther is going to be in this. You are going to leave the back and forth, while we have this conversation with Esther. So, Esther, I'm going to get you stay muted while I speak. And when you're speaking, I will unmute you. I guess that's the way we can feel the feedback from your end. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, we're going to get right into the conversation of the day. And of course, you can see that Esther have had to run out from the house, be in the car, because we are looking, we must share this my intentional parenting journey today. Nothing will stop it. Alrighty, Esther. Am I correct? I can see Esther Etim, Esther Buki. All right, Esther Buki is our guest. I think that there was a bit of a mix-up, Tim, in that conversation. Esther Buki. So sorry about that. All right, I'm meeting Esther Buki, and she will be sharing. So as you're going to be hearing this journey today, Esther will also be sharing her journey with me today. So let's get at it. The first thing that we want to share. No, the other position was better, Esther, right? Okay. The first thing that we want to hear from Esther is, how did you get into the inner circle? How did you meet the Intentional Parent Academy?
All right. Good morning, Coach. Good morning, everyone. Like Coach said, we have to share this parenting journey. So I had to run into my car because the noise was just too crazy. So I must say, Coach, I'm really honored to be here today doing this. I'm really, really honored. And when they reached out to me, I was like, I'm me. I'm not yet a yada fool. But let me say, my intentional parenting journey started 9 months ago. So I'm in the incubator of inner circle. I'm actually going through refiner's fire. The fire is burning seriously. And how did I come into it? When I got married, I always told myself that I don't think I can train these children. My husband was the disciplinarian. I think I'm the gentle one. I cannot train these children. No, I don't have the tough hand. But I knew that there was more to it than just, bringing up children and all that. I wanted my children to come out well, but I didn't know how because I came from a broken home. For 15 years, I wasn't with my dad. I was only with my mom. So I only learned basically from my mom, even though it was there from afar. But I didn't learn the man figure. I didn't feel it. So I didn't know how to undo some situations. So I got married to my husband. That okay, he's the disciplinarian, he'll be able to handle my children. And then suddenly, he had to travel out and relocated from the country. And I was left with three children. I have three children. I was left with three children. My first child, when my husband traveled, was 7. And that was when I knew I needed help seriously. Because at that point, the boy flipped. He became rebellious. I want my dad was all I was hearing. And I was like, how will I go about it? We beat him, we drag him, and you just tell me, see, you will get tired of beating me. You will get tired of beating me. I want my father. I was really confused. We lost a old school session and I didn't know what. I was like, who's going to help me? How am I going to go about it? I was really confused. It was draining me by the day. It was draining me by the year. For almost for almost 3 years, I was confused. I didn't know what to do. My parents didn't know what to do either. My in-laws didn't know what to do either. The best they knew was to beat the boy, that this small boy cannot be bigger than you. You must beat him. He must be obedient. But I knew there was more to it. So I was going through so much. I spoke to a friend that happened to be an inner circle parent. I didn't even know anything about inner circle, but I had always been seeing when you look on Instagram. I would just check it and go. Then I now noticed you were advertising sex educate like a pro 3.0. So I was like, so they do sex education again for children. Okay, I'm interested. I now spoke to my friend. She's a doctor in the inner circle, Dina. So she now said, have you heard about inner circle? I'm there. I think you need to be in inner circle. And she registered me for Sex Educate Like a Pro. And from Sex Educate Like a Pro, I didn't turn back. I was like, where has she been? Where have I been? Why has she not been here? Why did I have to go through all this? Why did I meet her earlier? Things like that. From Sex Educate Like a Pro, I stayed through for the conference, the 30 speakers. I didn't miss day and night. I was there. I lost sleep. I was like, Jesus, this so much information and I did not know. And my son was already 10. And I was like, oh God, what will I do? No, he was already 12, going 13. And when I heard, if you have teenagers, 1,000 lions are chasing you, I said, no, this one is not 1,000, 100,000 they are chasing me. And quickly, I just booked a slot from Sex Educate Like a Pro. I booked a slot straight. And then some few weeks to Inner Circle starting up, somehow, I just got the money and I registered. And I've not regretted registering since I joined the Inner Circle.
Alrighty, you are listening to STM Bookie, and shout out to you, Dr. Dina Wanlili. Yes, I love the inner circle. So we're doing I think that was some statistics in the academy, and we found that we had such an array of doctors in the inner circle. So I was asking one of them, I said, What happened? I said, what happened? It's as if there was one explosion that they just blew drum and say, you know what? All of us in the medical system, come, let's go and find what's happening. Shout out to all of you. Shout out to Dr. Dina. And thank you again. We have SCM Booking sharing her intentional parenting journey. And she is sharing from the beginning. She said, one of the things that brought me in was I had a challenge. Many times we actually wait until we have a problem. And then we start running kitty kitty. I was listening to Brenda's video when she was talking about the TIP annual conference. That's how she got into the inner circle. The TIP summit in Lagos 3 years ago. That was the very first summit we had in Lagos, and that was 3 years ago. And she said, I was in that meeting and I was crying. Before then, I was struggling with my children. And then I saw somebody's status. She said the person didn't invite her directly. You're just looking at status, and she saw her parenting conference. Surulere, Lagos. Hey, I'm there. This one that I'm having issues, with my friend and with my children. Please let me go and join the inner circle. Let me go and join and follow this, conference. She said she came to the conference. She paid to join the inner circle at the conference. She didn't go home. She didn't say, let me wait. She said, Coach, I transferred that my money. That was years ago, 50K. That right there, signed up, and since then have been on this journey. Right, right now she's in she's a senior yada. People that have been in the inner circle for quite a while. So that status that you put up can actually save a life. So today, go and put this link on your status because you might actually be saving someone somewhere, somehow. Thank you so much for joining me again. I am very glad and very grateful. All right, make sure that you share your link with your family and friends. Okay, so we have SCM Bouquet sharing on my intentional parenting journey, and that's how she got into my intentional parenting journey. As a yada or as a non-yada, you get into a conference, sex education, you lose sleep, you can't sleep well, right? You are not. How do you want to sleep well now? Why do you need to sleep well when you have destinies in your hands? You can't be sleeping. I'm not sleeping well. Oh. Why are you sleeping well yourself? Alrighty. Thank you so much again. And we have Esther Buki in the building, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Esther, so talk to me. When you got into the inner circle, what was that thing that actually struck you? What was that thing that hit you? What was that thing? That was your aha moment, like we say in the yard. Over to you.
Hmm. Okay, getting into the inner circle, my aha moments, they are very plenty. As in, there are very plenty aha moments. But the moments when you said emotional intelligence, you have to be emotionally intelligent. You don't have to be reactive, or I mean, responding and just you're everywhere, yelling, shouting. That was me because that was what I knew how to do: yell, shout, but yet there was no results. So when you said you have to be emotionally intelligent, in fact, there was a time I came into your DM and you were like, you need to sign up for emotional intelligence class. I was like, coach, this is tough. I cannot be emotionally intelligent. You're like, no, you can do this. You can. So when you told us that, see, you can actually from yelling to calm, it's possible. It's very possible. I was like, really? Yelling to calm? And that was it. That emotional intelligence class turned me around almost 360. I'm still incubating though. Once the fire burned me too much, I run. I must tell you, I'm not 100% yada. Once the fire burned me, I will go and look for cold water to just cool myself. Then I come back for more fire, and it sometimes it really burns me hard. I cry. So that emotional intelligence class was the it. When you said problem solving, don't solve problems for your children, let them solve it themselves. Don't bail them out, don't help them do what they can do. And then I was like, oh really? Because I used to do it. I said, let me just have my peace. Every time I'll tell this child to do this, he will not do that. Let me just do it so that there can be peace. I didn't know that I was doing the wrong thing. I was actually giving myself lack of peace. But when I now heard that, I just had to flip. And then I had to start from the scratch again to start teaching them how to solve problems by themselves.
Amazing, amazing. So we have STM Bouquet sharing on my intentional parenting journey. She said one of her hair moments was that she could stop yelling. What was that thing you saw in the inner circle that made you think, yes, I am in the right place?
Okay, connecting to my children. I never knew I could connect, especially when the book Connect to Correct. I used to think you need to correct your child, just correct your child. But when I started hearing connect to correct, you need to connect with that child before you can correct that child. I was like, oh, really? Something like that. Then you came up with, you know, uh, ways you can connect with the connecting tool. I tried almost everything as much as I can. In fact, when you unwrapped the box of your that you got from Rails, I think it's Rails,
Yeah.
and I was literally following your hand as you were bringing out those things. I was just following up. The next moment, all my money I sent to her, send me puzzles. I never knew I could sit with my children, do puzzles together, and they're like, "Mommy, what happened to you? Or what's wrong? What happened?" They know Coach Wendy in my house. They say, if you don't do well, we'll just call Coach Wendy, you know. And from there, I started connecting. We did puzzles together. We watched movies together. And they were like, so, mommy, you can be this calm. So, mommy, you can be this sweet, And
Mm,
it's now easier for me to say, this that you're doing, you can't do it because, I give them the reason why they can't do it. And they are able to listen. It's different from when I yell. When I yell, they shut down. Just keep yelling. We are not listening. But when you
mm,
can connect and validate their emotions sometimes and say, okay, I know you're feeling this. I know you're doing this. And this is what you're going through. But this is what we have to do. This is what you have to do. And it helped me. Even the cooking. When you said cook with your children, teach them to cook. So that's bond. It created more bond for me. I never had that bond. I never had the bond. I had children, but we never had the bond. But right now, there's this bond that has built since I came into inner circle. It has not been easy. It has not been easy because, like I said, I had a teenager by the time I came into inner circle. So I was being chased by 10,000 lions. But the puzzles, he loved Legos, so it just helped me to connect with him. He
mm,
loved drawing, it helped me to connect with him. He would come, mommy, I've drawn, and I'm like, oh wow, this is beautiful. So for him to hear mommy saying this is beautiful, it means, oh, mommy actually sees what I'm doing, and it makes him open up some more and speak some more.
mm,
So those moments where those are things I saw in inner circle. I was like, oh, this is different.
mm,
That it is not. You said something. You said when you beat your child in public, it's not the child that has a problem. It is you that have ego problem. I used to beat him. I used to beat them in public when they say, oh, your child did this. Oh, outside. But the moment I heard you have ego problem, that was when I stopped beating. If you make a mess, you come home. We'll sort it out at home. And all this I learned from inner circle. It has not been easy, oh. Coach Marybeth, I'm sure I call her back to back. I call her back to back, and she just like keep moving, you know. And it's been a wonderful walk in inner circle. Honestly, I'm not even thinking of going out. I know I will repeat, but I'm not thinking of going out.
amazing, amazing. We have Esther Bookie share her journey, and she said that inner circle helped her to connect with her children, right? And it's interesting how many of us are out there. Our children don't even understand who we are. They don't even connect with us. We're so busy running before you know it. You are back home. What do you need? Back, you provide. You have done something fine. Back, you beat. Yeah, and that's the only thing. You find out that you are actually raising people you know nothing about. And that's the
Mm,
biggest tragedy of parenting. The biggest tragedy of parenting is that we are raising people we have no inkling of who they are. And because we have assumed so much, we have just thought, is it not this parenting? That's how they raised us now. That's how we turned out okay. After everything, they will be all right. Because we have lied to ourselves severally that we are all right, but we are not. If we really want to actually be sincere, sit down with these conversations, we will agree that we are not all right. All right. And if you're coming into the inner circle, you already have a teenager, it cannot be easy. But like Coach Ebuka will say, it's not easy, it's not a parenting plan. It's not a parenting plan. So you would need to do the work. Is it doable? Yes, I have seen parents of adult children. We have parents of adult children who are constantly. So we have a judge in the inner circle whose children are adults, and she's been in the inner circle for some years now. And the daughter who made the first class called me, spoke to me, and said, "You changed my life. My
mm,
mom, just my mom, being able to do the things that she was doing in the inner circle changed my life." This was a young girl who was the last five people in secondary school, coming now tops of her class. See, it is not every child is born a genius. It's parenting that genesis of. That's the truth. And it is what you do. So you are either an advantage or a disadvantage to your child. In my upcoming book, I screened it. It's either an advantage or a disadvantage to your child. But the question will be, which one do you want to be? And it's very important. Somebody said, how do I join the inner circle? The details are right on the screen to join the inner circle. But most times we are running late. I was teaching in a conference yesterday night, and then I got a question. My children are saying, how do I stop beating and start teaching them? Because all these things they are saying, they can't do it. So our problem is that we get carried away. Hey, we need to beat the children. Oh, hey, spread the rod. That's what they are shouting. That's not parenting now. And then at the end of the day, the children don't really learn anything. And then you see you have a 16-year-old who is unskilled. And I said, I submitted in my book that an unskilled child is a burden to you, himself first, to you, and to the rest of the society. You don't want to raise someone that is unskilled. It's one of the most difficult things to do. And one of the reasons parenting actually is a big deal, or one of the reasons parenting worry a lot of people, is that we concentrate on beating and not building skills. Because you cannot beat skills into a child. You build skills in a child. You can't beat it. Beating is a distraction. It just distracts you. Your child will just be growing like one Iroko. See a 16-year-old who is totally unskilled. Meanwhile, you're bragging that I'm some parent. When you do something, I give you basketballs. That's not the conversation. That's not the conversation at all. Because at the end of the day, it is skills that get people to survive. That's what gets people to survive. Goodness in itself is not a skill. So if what you're doing is just to make your child, I dare say that obedience is not even the goal in parenting. I dare say. Obedience. Let my child obey. When I talk to most people, say, I want my child to be obedient. I want my child to be obedient. That's not the goal. If you raise an obedient child, you can actually raise a foolish person. A child who is only obedient, the only thing they do is to listen to you. You can actually end up with a foolish person in your hands. An obedient, unskilled child, we call them the foolish virgins in the yard. Virgins, but they are foolish, very foolish, unskilled to the later. And there are many of us who grew up as foolish virgins. In quote, please permit me to use the word. Who grew up as foolish virgins just because our parents didn't pay attention to what it is we needed to know. The attention was on behave well. Goodness, again, is not a skill. You have life with me, Esther Bookie. You have life with me, Esther, sharing her intentional parenting journey. Let's go straight to the significant things that have happened to you in the inner circle. Your marriage, your parenting, your relationship with people, your career. Whichever way you want to take it from. Over to you, Esther.
Okay. I will start with the parenting before I go to the other aspect. When I came into inner circle was towards December. That was the Christmas with a difference for me. The way the Christmas table was set, my children were like, Mommy, we've been having Christmas. What's the big deal? I was like, no, this one is different too. This one is a different Christmas. And they were really elated. They were happy. Till today, we have those pictures and they look at it and it's a memory. It was during that period, 12, I think it was 12 days of Christmas. And then from 12 days of Christmas, we now had an opportunity to take them out. We were saying we should teach them social skill. We went to the museum. They've never been there. I have never been to the museum. And I went there with my children. We did not go with the car. I went with the train. That was the first time I would be entering the train. That was the first time my children would be entering the train. I wouldn't have done that if intentional parenting had not said, take them to monuments, take them to places, show them places, let them know where they, let them know their environment, let them know where they are growing up. Let them be socially skilled children. Let them know what's going on around them. I took them there and they were like, Mom, we've never been here before. I said, we're going to take a walk to the museum. And it was fun. It was fun. When we came back, I saw teamwork because they were excited. And apart from that, the way they now paint, the way they color, the way they do their Legos, the way things have really changed. My children have now calmed down. They told me, they say, Mommy, we are not kitty kitty kata kata everywhere, because they know that's my word. I said, that's Coach Wendy's code too. We don't want to do kitty kitty kata kata every day. Said, Mommy, we are not kitty kitty kata kata everywhere. We are now, organized. And that my son, the first son I have, today, we got to school 6:56 for the first time. My children got to school 6:56 a.m. courtesy my first son. He got up, he said, we are going to school early. He did the same thing on Tuesday. He told me, Mommy plus you and my younger ones downstairs, we can't be going late anymore. He was like, checklist, water bottle, check, shoe, check. I was like, hey, God, what's going on here? This is real transformation. The boy is transformed. This is the same boy that sits on the tree and refuses to come down to go to school. This is the same boy that repeated a class. This is the same boy that people had written off. He went to game houses. He stole my money. He went to game houses to play. I saw him today and I was in tears. He was looking so handsome, so clean. So handsome, so clean. And I was like, is this my son? And he was like, okay, mommy, we have to eat it. Today we did 6:56, but we're going to do 6:45 tomorrow. I was like, what's going on? It was like, I now love my new environment. I now love my new person. And it's been a work in progress. So with my children and my little son, when you said 4 years, let them cook. My 6-year-old child started cooking at 5 when I joined that inner circle. I make him pluck the vegetable. I make him do the smoothies. Do the smoothie the way you want it. And he just starts creating. And I was like, he said, Mommy, let me put the Maggie. He will carry his stool. There is this crutch chair. He stands on it by the gas. And I was like, what's going on here? And for me right now, I feel like I'm now lazy because my children can now cook. I rarely go to the kitchen now, and I'm feeling like I'm feeling a little bit awkward that I'm not used to
It's okay.
that. I'm not used to it, but they
You're
now
not
cook
listening.
so
You're used to
well.
Christian life. You're used to suffering, ma. You have stopped suffering.
Honestly, I have stopped suffering because sometimes I have to take permission. Can I cook today, please? Can I just cook? Because they've taken over cooking. They've taken over cooking. But the first boy that never used to come to the kitchen, now he's the one creating things in the kitchen. I've stopped cooking. And he's just 13 going 14. So inner circle has transformed my life because it had to start with me first. I had to reorientate myself. I had to see that the problem wasn't with the boy. It wasn't with that child. It was with me. I wasn't understanding him. Because you said that parenting has curriculum. Every child has curriculum. Download for each child. You cannot use curriculum A for curriculum B. Each child has his own.
Yes.
So I was like, this one is different now. So I had to start learning them one by one. Like Tani said yesterday, that knowing the child you parent, I had to start learning them one by one that, okay, this one is kinesthetic. It can never stay in a place. This one, and that was the one that we were always forcing to stay in a place. And because of that, it was always rebellious, in quotes. But the moment I knew who he was, the story changed. So right now, I have peace, at least. We used to get to school 8:30. Today, we were the first. We opened the school gate was locked. And my son was like, my 6-year-old was like, I'm the first today for the first time. So it is an achievement for me. At least with all those hot spots taken off. So it's an achievement for me. And then coming to my career, I'm an event planner. Everybody around me just knew that Buki has gotten into something. Intentional parenting left, intentional parenting right, any small thing, intentional parenting, any small thing, emotional intelligence. You don't do this to your child. What? So they were all interested. It got to the point they had to start inviting me to platforms to come and talk about parenting. I was like, see me, oh, I'm not even up to quarter of an inch of what Coach Wendy has. So I am still a yada that is still going off and on. I remember coming to you, Coach, saying that I'm in a wrestling field. I'm being boxed and I feel like I'm bleeding. I cannot even stand again, and you told me you will stand, get up. And I kept seeing from your voice notes, keep swimming. The day you stop swimming, you start sinking. So I just kept moving
Yep.
on. So from there, they've invited me to different platforms to come and talk about parenting, not even event planning, not even my own field of business. But because I became passionate about it and I saw results, I started talking and preaching this. I became an evangelist of parenting intentionally. And because of that, it
Mm.
has opened doors for me. They don't call me, come and talk about events. They tell me, come and talk about parenting. Because I was coming from somewhere, a child that was written off, a child that people was like, what kind of a child is this? Is now different. So there is an
Mm.
evidence somewhere. I have an evidence somewhere. Initially, when I
Mm.
started, they were like, are you going to teach us how to train children? How old are you? We know how to train children. I was just like, just
Mm.
give me my child. Let me train him myself. I will follow
Mm.
coach. Let me train him
Mm.
myself. So because of that, I shared with my family and my friends and yourself. The first award I will get in my whole life was because I spoke about parenting intentionally. That is the first award I would get. And it has really turned around the way I relate with customers. When I see a customer doing, I just say emotional intelligence, I don't react. I just, okay, why is the person acting the way the person is acting? It helps me. My customer service had changed and I was different. So in my business, and because I'm now calmer, with my children, no, hey, my children this, my children that. I was able to be more productive in my business. I was able to
Mm.
now think and be creative. It was during the course of, being intentional parenting, I introduced more businesses like even emergency stands at events. I wouldn't have thought of that when a child is on the tree and not going to school. How will I be thinking of bringing new things into innovations into my business? I've had
Mm.
about 3 innovations in my business because my
Mm.
mind has now known peace. Peace as a skill, like you said. And my mind has now known peace. And I know that nobody will die. The children will be all right.
Mm.
Just do your part. Do your part. Once you do your part with prayers, the child will come out well. So I started following, wobbling though, but it has been really, really good. And as for my marriage, it's still a work in progress, I must say. But every time I remember that honor as a skill, I always remember it is the part you honor that will minister to you. If you honor him,
Mm.
you know. And yesterday when Tani was speaking, and you were saying you have to be accountable, and all that. I, I said I think I have to call my husband again, and renew the vow, and it's a work in progress. I know that we've not gotten to that point, but I know we'll get there. I'm just 9 months. I didn't even expect all I've seen so far. Honestly, I didn't. Dr. Dina said, you took this inner circle more serious than myself. I said, and I'm seeing results because my mind is more at peace. I just added flesh. I
Mm.
wasn't at peace
Mm.
before. I just added flesh. So I am really grateful.
Yes. Bookie, thank you so much, Bookie, for being live at my intentional parenting journey. So, Bookie is one of those here that like Tani that come to me and rant and just go off and say, Coach, no. I'm like, calm down. We will get there. Calm down. And the speed of our journey is exciting to me because she's been able to actually gain a lot of speed. What she's been able to achieve in 9 months. Most people Actually, don't say it in like 3, 4 years because they are moving so slowly. Every time she comes, I know one thing that I say to her is, your situation is your situation. Stop trying to change it.
Mhm,
Begin to,
mhm.
because most times we look at our situations, we're constantly in the place where we want to change people. I want to change my son. I want to change my husband. I want to change. You want to change everybody, but you somewhere you're a mess. Very many of the
Yeah.
times. And you don't even recognize that as you're pointing one finger to someone, 4 others are actually pointing back at you. So most times we are our problem is because we think that we think that having children is what validates us, having a husband, our validation is hinged on things and people. That's actually the main issue. Not knowing that when you begin to walk a journey, I have seen people who just watched me. I didn't need to say a word to them, and their word and their lives transformed. So people can actually look at you and be transformed. So the situation is there. It is there. Focus on you. And the more you focus on you, the more you begin to see a lot of the things. People, the thing is going to come back to you. And that was the same thing that I would tell Tanya anytime that she comes. And I'm like, you know that your problem is not this boy, right? And then we'll go back and forth. When people hear, when I say, oh, your 4-year-old can cook, your 5-year-old, they're like, child abuse, according to Tani, child abuse, child abuse.
Say,
I
come down
always
from that
say,
table.
come down from that table, man. That table, we're no longer on that table. It was Emily that said, my plate is full, your plate is plate, so that you will not have a full plate. I have time to do what you need to do. Anytime that I speak, I was still talking about it yesterday in the conference, and I said, this thing that we're saying, we are always starting late. And like I tell you as a co-parent, when we finish starting late, see, it takes 4 years of training to win Olympics. 4 years minimum. The people in the Asian countries have even taken it to like 8 years. So they train for 8 years before they now come to Olympics. How do you want to win? We train for what? We train for 2 months in this part of the world. You can't win gold. For you to win gold, you need to get refined in the process. Minimum is 4 years training. Minimum. So the least you can put in is 4 years. That's the least. That's the least. And these people begin to train their children, right? And they begin to add. So sorry about that. I'm having a network that is doing. All right, great. And I was talking about training. By the time you do 4 years, right? Your children start when our children start learning to do things is by 10 years, 12, 13. It's late. These children begin to do things at age 4. You watch Top Junior, you see 4-year-olds cooking. That was the first thing that blew my mind. I was like, 4-year-olds? But meanwhile, we're still afraid of our 9-year-olds holding iron. Twins started to iron when they were 6. I don't get it. Who is supposed to iron for you? You learn it. It's a skill that you learn. So you heard Bookie talk about a 6-year-old who can cook. My children didn't even cook at that age. My children started to learn at 6. But in the inner circle, we've broken the jinx. We have 5-year-olds making jollof rice today because it's possible and it's doable. So if you're listening to me, you are in the space where you're thinking, are you sure this thing that they are saying, maybe this woman has been paid to come and lie and all of
Hmm.
that. Let me tell you something. Bookie is not even perfect. It's not even anywhere near perfect. Before she spoke, she spoke at the conference, when she assessed the win, she can come today and tell me, Coach, I'm tired. Oh. This happened. In 2 days, she will come back and say, hey, Coach, I have a testimony. I said, that is it. How we move. That's how we move. Because you are not to be perfect. And I love what she shared about her job. She said, even the way that I talk to people. The truth is, yesterday Tani was saying she borrowed 50,000 naira to join the inner circle. And today she's controlling millions. Because the things you hear, the environment where you are will transform you.
Mm.
Buki was saying that look at how I even relate with my customers is different. Buki, you parent alone. I want you to share a bit of that journey with us. Parenting alone, parenting your children alone, and how has the inner circle helped you to be able to actually work that?
Wow. Well, I never really saw this one coming, but okay. I've been parenting these children for about 5 years, going 6 years alone, and it's not been easy, especially the fact that I have teenagers. All right, and my son is a teenager, and a teenager that likes to explore. So I had to be up to my game. Thank God for Inner Circle. Inner Circle opened my eyes, honestly. There was a time Coach Ebuka came and was talking about anime. I was like, what is that one again? I had to start checking. It was I think it was during Sex Educate Like a Pro. It was like, no, know what's going on. No, he was mentioning so many things and I was lost. I was literally lost. I didn't know I could parent a teenager, honestly, because I never really had a teenage life. I grew up quickly because I
Hmm,
had to learn independency. When my father left, he left when I was 13. So I never
hmm,
really had a teenage life. I never really understood what it means to be meant to be a teenager. So having a teenager in my hand was like, what's going on? I didn't know what to do. I didn't know my left from my right. I
hmm,
just grew up quickly into responsibilities. Growing up, we grew up to be independent. We grew up to stand on our own and all that. So having that teenager in my hand and then these two other ones was really tough. I had support systems. I had support system where I could talk to people. I actually listened to, I can't remember the name of the lady I listened to on the conference when she said parenting alone. I think she spoke on parenting alone. I think it's Mrs. Eitayo, yes.
yes.
That parenting alone, that some of us are parenting, we are couples, but we are parenting alone. And I had to listen to her 3 times. I listened to that particular one 3 times because it was me. We were couples, but I was parenting alone here in Nigeria. It's a different ball game. So I had to look for support system. I had to look for people in the inner circle where I could talk to, where I could also share things with, and they will hold my hands and say, let's do it this way, let's try it that way. Okay, look at it this way. So anytime I have little issues, and I don't want to disturb coach, I go and look for my accountable partners and say, see, this is what I did. This is where I flopped. What should I do? And it's not been easy. It's not been easy. It's not been easy. It's been tough because parenting alone, you are confused sometimes. You have so much stress on you. You have so much burden on you, and you are tempted to transfer such aggressions and things to the children. But when you now know that you can actually be in control of your emotions, regardless of what you're going through, and that is where emotional intelligence really came into play for me. As in, I have to control, I choose what I go through. It is
Hmm,
not the environment that dictates to me. So I can regulate my emotions. I can be aware of what makes me, that triggers me. These are things I learned from inner circle. I never knew anything about it. So support system from inner circle are really helped with Dr. Dina is somebody that, in fact, when she's in clinic, I'm troubling her. At home, I'm troubling her. Marybeth, Coach Marybeth is another person. Real Signature is another person. All these people, they stand by me and they tell me, just keep moving on. Try it this way. Do it that way. So it has really been tough, but parenting alone, you need people that you're accountable to. You need to be in the inner circle. You need people to hold your hand. You need people to guide you. And I think, Coach, you're doing a wonderful job with me. It's not easy. And I tell you, sometimes I send some of your classes to my husband for him to listen. I don't force him, but I just push it to him so that he can also be carried along, with this parenting journey as well.
All righty. Thank you so much. You have Bookie in the building. Bookie has been sharing her journey and she talked about parenting alone. See, if you have a spouse who do not live with you, you're living and you live with the children, it's just you. And one thing that you need is a community. I call it collective intelligence. There are things that yesterday there was a review was going on in the inner circle. In fact, I was writing some stuff. Nami writes book, oh, guys. I wrote the book. It was this book that was being reviewed, Resolving Sibling Rivalry. But people were sharing some profound insight out of that book. One of my greatest wins in the inner circle, Mio, is collective intelligence. The fact that people from all walks of life can actually put together and come with their brain. Almost, do you know what that means? Hey, when you have thousands of people sharing, you can't get that anywhere. And it's
Mm,
not a Googleable thing. It's not where you go to Google and find. No, I'm talking about real
experience. True.
experiences that is so tangible. And you hear someone, it was Sandra Odukwe who shared on my intentional parenting journey. And she shared how she's been parenting alone and she became resentful. And she said, the inner circle got me to the point where I realized, okay, these things can be done, differently. Newsflash, Sandra is one of the others that would also come to me and, do all of the ranting and all of that. I love the others when they come and do the ranting. Sometimes some people will finish ranting to I say, Coach, I hope you're not angry. I say, me, how? I get it. And I get it. And I'm glad that you are able to speak. Sometimes, you see some things bored and you're like, And I'm like, okay, let's take it one step at a time.
True.
But that's the kind of environment that you have. Now, let me say this. Newsflash, access to me, you pay the same 100,000 naira for inner circle for 60 minutes. So that 100,000 you would have paid for 1 year is the 100,000 you will pay for 60 minutes. So if you have an issue, you say, coach, please help me answer. I don't have that kind of time to go ahead and do answer here, answer there. There's no time for that. If you need to meet me, consult with me, then you need to pay to consult with me. Meanwhile, being in the inner circle, you can actually have chit chat. Inner circle parents understand what I mean. You can actually come to me and send a voice note, rant, ask questions, do all of the things, and sometimes we actually get to do some back and forth. Yesterday, I was still talking with the Yada, and I said something to her. She said, Coach, this thing you said, nobody has ever said it to me before. I will say it to you now, I don't know you in that way. I am not your friend. Neither am I your sister. I am also not related to you. And so I need to tell you things the way they are. So the accountability is an amazing thing for you. And being able to have access to me is gold. Trust me, anytime, any day. My time is not free. So having access to me, the others have access to me like, I can let me just chat coach. Some people don't want to enter my DM. A few people, you will see them maybe after like 6 months, they'll say, coach, I've been afraid to come. I don't know, be there, you're wasting your slot and time. People like Bookie are in my nose like every other time. And trust me, it's my pleasure anytime to actually be able to. Sometimes, when the others come to me to ask, sometimes Bookie will come to me and say something. I'm not even advising because at that point, it's not advice that she really needs.
Yes.
Sometimes you just need to talk about it and just assimilate what is coming. Sometimes the webinar finishes and inner circle parent is really in the, like Bookie said, you are being refined and being burnt, and you don't know where to actually put it down from, and they come ranting, and I'm like, we'll all be all right. We'll all be all right. All
Yes.
right.
So,
So Bookie, we are talking about inner circle webinars. Name your top 3 webinars and why.
okay. You see honor as a skill. I've been hearing honor as a skill from a lot of people, but from my own perspective, the honor as a skill. When you said honor is a currency, the thing hits me hard, as in honor is a currency. Is a currency that can get you anything. Honor is not hypocrisy. Honor is what you do inside. Honor is customer service brought home. All these things, they are ringing in my head. And I was like, oh, you deal with customers out there. Your children are your first customers. So you have to bring it home. When you said, bring down all the plates, I was like, they will break them. They will break them. Bring down all the plates. So that was when I started bringing down all the plates, all the salad bowls. And they were like, mommy, you are bringing them. I said, yes, it's for you to use. Yes, some broke, but at least they are learning through the process. So, and you said being honorable starts with you. You have to honor yourself first. So I had to start relearning how to honor myself. When they bring the food, I said, no, I can't take it in this plate because I'm a queen and you're also a king. So they take it back and then, reserve me. So that honor as a skill was one. And I've not still gotten over it, because that honor as a skill towards my marriage, my husband, I'm still working. I'm still working. I'm still a work in progress with that. And then this emotional intelligence class, that was just a turnaround. Emotional intelligence, I can't forget it so quickly. It just brought that was the first time I'll be hearing emotional intelligence. I've been hearing IQ, but I was hearing
Hmm.
it in a different way. I was hearing it in a different way. IQ can get you bookwork, but emotional intelligence will keep you at the top. And I
Hmm.
had to start, retraining myself. Yes, I was a very brilliant girl in school, prefect and everything, but I didn't have emotional intelligence. So I had to start retraining myself to be emotionally intelligent. That particular webinar, I don't know if this is a webinar or not, this learning style or something. I don't know. I don't know if it, but that one struck me. I had to start learning how to start sticking for my child that was visual, because all my focus had always been on the kinesthetic child. That's my first son. I forgot I had other two children, and then they were also suffering. So, but when I came into inner circle, I remembered I have three. So I had to start downloading curriculum for each of them and started following up with their learning style. Oh, this one is visual, this one is auditory, and this one is kinesthetic. So I had to start dealing with them like that. So that emotional intelligence class, I can't trade it for anything. That
Hmm.
particular one, emotional intelligence class. I think it was in February, sometime in February.
Yes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. One of the things that me and Bookie thought about was, hey, coach, it's too much. And let me tell you the truth. When you are, parenting alone, you are in the process alone and all of that, believe you me, you are going to get overwhelmed. So if you do not have the skills of emotional intelligence, right, you will see that you will actually find yourself, you don't have that skill, you are not able to, you will just be scattered, you'll be led by your mood. Hey, every time, hey, you have a fight with your husband, you translate it, you have, you fight it, everything, everywhere, you are just everywhere, everything is just happening at the same time. All right.
Mm,
And it's one thing that I have seen a lot of people struggle with in parenting. Of course, I'm sure that everybody who have listened to us have heard about honor as a skill. Honor as a skill has been a game changer for inner circle parents. I learned honor. I I built the honor skill. I haven't always been like this. I built it over the years, and God Himself actually taught me some things I know about honor, about people, about, and one thing, like many others will share, honor as a skill. One of my mentees was sharing with me, one of my, very close mentee was sharing with me recently that honor as a skill gave him 100% increase in his returns. in business. And I was like, I get it. But he just told me these are the things I applied. This is what happened to my business. This is how my business got transformed. He said, Coach, that particular webinar is my webinar today, tomorrow. He said, every time that webinar plays, he's been in the dinner cycle for a while. So anytime that webinar plays, that he just plays it, that sometimes they play the webinar for 1 week. Every day, I'm like, I don't understand. He said, Coach, you don't get it. You are the one speaking, you won't get it. And that's one thing that I know. So if you were a new yada, you are looking forward to honor and skill, please look forward very well. Believe you me, believe you me, this is going to change life. I am not even mincing words. I am not even joking about it. Your life will literally be changed. And if you're listening to me, get ready. Getting into the inner circle is a blessing, I can assure you. Now, Bookie, tell me, what would be the number one book you read in the academy so far?
Oh, well, when I got into the academy, that connects to correct. I was, I think I was the second on the list to do the review. Uh, when I read it, I was like, so I can actually connect to my child. And then discipline is not an emergency. That book
Hmm.
is not an emergency, it's a process. It's not, no, 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 no. We have to do it. No, 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 no. Discipline that child now. No, it's a process. It's something you build over time. That discipline is not an emergency, and connect to correct. I needed to heal. I needed to connect because sincerely, coach, my son's trauma became my own trauma. I was living his trauma, but his trauma became my trauma. I was actually living a traumatic life because my child was going through trauma. So I needed to heal first. I needed to connect. I needed to understand that, okay, I'm going through a trauma. How is this child feeling? I need to connect. That book was a game changer for me. Connect to correct, and discipline is not an emergency because our approach was always discipline him now, do it now, beat him now. I remember there was a time he refused to go to school. Oh God, I remember it and I'm in pain right now. We literally dragged him from the stairs,
Oh,
my
wow.
son. We dragged him. He was being beaten by um, his auntie. That you must go to school, and he was saying, "No, I want my father." And we literally dragged him from 5 flight stairs, and he
Whoa.
was still at the mat, and we were beating him. I took him to school without wearing bra and slippers. So his trauma became my trauma. And I needed to connect to understand his trauma for me to be able to help him. So the connecting period was healing for me. All those Lego we played together was me. It was me healing. All those painting we did together, though we were
Mm,
connecting, but it was healing for
mm,
me. So I now
mm,
knew that all those things we were doing, thinking it was discipline, dragging him on the stairs and beating him, was not discipline. We were just compounding trauma for that child. And
mm,
sincerely, till tomorrow, he's still trying to forget it. He can't forget it. It's his car. Even me, I can't forget it. So, but
mm.
he's healing gradually because of the connection tools. He's healing gradually, and I'm also healing. Connect to correct, and discipline is not an emergency, honestly.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That story that Bookie just shared now is I put myself inside that situation, and I started to wonder what exactly have happened. A child was going through a traumatic experience, and the response was to punish the child, to make the child suffer. Hmm. It was in the discipline that discipline is not an emergency that I said, let's not create drama that will cause trauma for our children eventually.
Mm-hmm.
The same boy that she was dragging just a few months ago is the same boy that is now at the gate of a school very early in the morning. What a transformation. What a transformation. The truth is, Sometimes when you get into the inner circle, one of the things that's going to happen to you, let me also say this, is that when you see the foolishness of the past, you will weep.
I'm
You're
telling
going
you.
to get, you're going to get to a point where you will tell yourself, Jesus, what was that? You heard Sandra when she was sharing. Sandra said, I watched a video of where I was beating my child for not doing assignment. He said, Coach, she was weeping on the live stream. And she said, Coach, my whole body, I couldn't believe that was me.
Mm.
And, these are the things that we do normally. Normalize nonsense. We
Mm.
do it. People hear love. Hey,
Yes.
hey. You are doing well. That's what you should have done. Why would the child wake up in the morning and not want to go to school? We're hailed for all those things. But you don't know the kind of damage. A parent sat in my office for a consultation one of the days. He paid for 3 hours, 300,000, 3 hours. And she sat in my office and she was reliving her process in parenting. I had a tissue box that finished while she was talking. And the way she relived something that happened to her when she was 11, it was as if I was there. She said, my mother beat me in a space, beat me. It was a public space. She said, I didn't know that has haunted me. I didn't even know that this kind of thing could have been a problem. She was, that thing haunted her for life. For her mom, she said it didn't mean anything to her. So for you, who is ignorant, it doesn't mean anything to you. I was still reliving an experience with my father. This is my father who was, I was a trophy child. So talk about people who got all the love, crossing their leg. I'm on that table. But I was reliving an event that happened. What my dad did. My father said, oh, no, that was nothing. Nice. It wasn't anything. I said, wow. That's how parents think. That's what happens. It doesn't look like anything. But if you do not correct it, you will be in that error for life.
Mm.
Imagine in an error that looks this way, dragging a child through a 5-flight stairs. So imagine when a child does other things. That this is just one of the stories. So imagine what other stories look like. So if you're listening to us and you're thinking, all these things, I know it already, I know what I'm doing, and my children are doing okay, they might not really be doing okay. My children don't have any problem. Maybe you are not like Buki, whose son has refused to go to school. Everybody goes to school the way they want. Everything looks perfect. In fact, that's even the more dangerous one.
Mm.
Because this exhibition actually got Buki to begin to look for solution. Some of our children never exhibit anything. You don't even know. They just recoil and they suffer for it, for life, for life. And at the end of the day, you say, oh, my children are so quiet. They are very obedient. Oh, they are this and all of that. One thing that you will learn to do, I told a father who was, both of them are very high profile individuals in the country. And I was in a session with them. And I said, you would need to go and have a conversation with your daughter and ask for forgiveness. He said, he's in his 50s. I said, sir, you will. I was talking about her teenage daughter. And, it is something that we need to actually, if you don't know, you won't even understand what I'm saying. What
Mm.
I'm saying will look like film trick. What she's saying, what is that? I discipline the child will need to become better. But Buki struggled with this child, even though she was, in quotes, disciplining the child. Nothing changed until
Nothing.
she herself changed. She needed to change and she needed to connect. It wasn't the boy. The boy was going to, actually going through something. And she was going through something that was very valid. Very valid. And this is so key. Okay, some people are listening to us now and they are, maybe in the kind of situation where you are also. Or maybe they are even struggling in the places where they are and they don't really know how to go about what they need to go about. Or they have come to a point, that point where you came to, and your friend had to tell you, join the inner circle. Speak to them for a few minutes as we begin to round up.
Okay, for those of you out there that parenting seems like it's confusing you, you don't know what to do, you've wept, you've cried like me. There are some nights I don't sleep, I was confused. Or you have a very special child in your hand and you don't even know how to handle the child. The first thing I'll tell you is stay strong. The fact that you're listening to this, coach would always say, God has sent you help. God
Yep.
has sent you. Don't say, God, send me help again. Help has already come. All
Mm.
you just have to do is key in and see the help. She said, why what you don't know, where there is no light, that is where you still suffer. When light shines into that dark part, and you begin to see clearly, and that light is knowledge. You just need to get knowledge. The moment I got knowledge, light shone into my space and I began to see clearly. So don't give up on your child, don't give up on yourself. Join a community like Inner Circle. That's all I will tell you. I didn't want to join Inner Circle before, honestly. I was like, different. But when I joined, I said, no, no turning back. I will stay here. I stay in the hack. This is a hack. And I can tell you what is coming with this new generation. You need to be in a hack that is safe. So whatever it is you're going through, please know that this is a community that is here to help. Just key in and see that help. God has sent you help. God has already answered your prayer. So clean your eyes so you can see clearly and join.
Mm. Mm. Amazing. God has already answered your prayer, and all you need to do is to clean your tears. Like maybe Coach Ebuka would say, wipe your tears. Let's find solution to the problem. I was having a conversation with my mom, who is 70 something, by the way, I think 72. And, in a conversation, she was like, when we talk about this thing, it just makes my heart. I was with my sister-in-law and my mom. Both of them have the same kind of temperament. I was like, I don't really like talking about these issues. When you talk about it, it makes my heart. It breaks my heart. It just makes me want to cry. And I said to the both of them, I'm sure my mom is listening to me this morning. And I said to the both of them that, these things don't solve problems. Problems are not solved by emotionalizing them.
Mm,
Emotionalism is one thing that stops us from actually moving, and is a bane of many women. We emotionalized it. Oh, I was teaching in the inner circle the other day. I said, yeah, you talk about how the people tell you, you talk about how the person did not correct you well, you give all the excuses, and you actually never move. It's women that say, I'm too busy. Oh, I cannot do this. I cannot. There's something that we say in the inner circle. I cannot is not a language we speak here. And I always love this quote by Bimbo Kweme. Thank you, Mercy, for putting it out there. Excuses are tools for the incompetent, and they that use it are not wise. It's only the incompetent people that make excuses. Don't use it. Don't use it. And some of the things that will happen to you, or it's going to happen to you, you get to a point where you now realize, I wish I can turn back the hands of time. I have
mm,
been privileged to listen to who is who in this country. And trust me, many of them tell me, I wish you were in my time. Coach, I wish you were in my time. Just over the weekend, we still met the school owners, and one of them said to me, I finished listening at the summit in Kano. I went to called my children and I said, I have failed in this aspect of my life. I don't want you to fail. And she came back to me, she said, I wish you were in my time. I thought I got it all right until I listened to you. I wish you were in my time. Don't be in that space where you are wishing that you were in that time. Take action today. What will be your last words, Pookie, as we round off on this session?
all right. To everybody out there and to coach, I want to say first, thank you, coach, for being my coach. Thank you. And then to everybody out there, there's hope. There's hope. There is hope for you. There is hope for you in the inner circle. Keep moving. Like coach will say, keep swimming. the day you stop swimming. Someone said the train is moving. The day you decide to sit at the back seat of the train, when the train is moving, something will
Mm,
take over the steering.
mm,
Something will
mm,
take over the steering. So keep moving. Don't leave the steering. There is hope. Don't give up. Don't give up. All will be fine. All will be fine. So, Coach, thank you very much. I really do appreciate this. I am honored, and I am proud to be an inner circle parent. I shout it at the rooftop. In fact, my children's proprietress has joined inner circle. She has
correct.
joined, yes, she has, because that's the way I shout it everywhere.
Mm,
All my
mm.
media plan, my frame follows me. I'll tell, see, I have a frame. Oh. You have in your school, me, I have in my house.
Yes, so.
So please, everybody out there, there is hope. Don't give up. There is hope. There's hope. Thank you very much, Coach, and thank you everyone for for taking time to listen to me in my car. Thank you very
Mm.
much.
Thank you so much, Buki Etienne, for being vulnerable enough to share your story with us. Of course, you know that I love you, I honor you. Thank you for being here. I don't take your time for granted, and I am really grateful to have you walk your journey with you. And for me, the greatest win for me in life is seeing the transformation that people go through. When I see the transformation, I'm like, was it this? Is it this same person? Like, is it a joke? And that's why I don't delete my chat. Yesterday I was able to go through my chats with Tani, and I said, oh my goodness, I should be on my knees praising God. He helps me to appreciate what God can do. Because I know that I'm not a transformer. I understand it. I am just a tool, like they say, in the hands of the Creator. And I'm so grateful to be part of your journey. Thank you so much for listening, for being allowed to get instructed. In the inner circle, it's instructions you take home. You just take it. Sometimes you finish, I'll say,
We
just
fly by
take the
instruction.
instructions. If you are not ready, because there's a limit to where you will get to if you don't agree to actually take instructions. That's one thing I learned, in the last 2 years. And opinions are cheap, excuses are cheap. They that are great do not make them. They that are great do not buy into opinions because they are all there, they are everywhere. Instructions are expensive. Doings are expensive. There's a thing that we say in the Masterpiece Woman, and we say that we say masterpiece women with doing. You need to do. We don't make excuses. Kings don't trade with excuses. So this is one thing that you must go home with. Thank you so much, Buki. I'm going to let you go now. Thank you, and God bless you. All righty. So if you're listening to me, you have just listened to Esther and Buki share her journey of my intentional parenting journey. One of the most profound things she said today was, my son moved from a child who didn't want to go to school because he was traumatized about his dad to a child who now sits in front of the school, being the first to get to school. Did the situation change? Not particularly. The dad is still parenting from afar, but something changed in their parenting system. They understood something that they could do differently. They understood something that they can rewire, and that changed the trajectory of their lives. And today, they are able to actually share differently. They are able to actually do differently. That same son who looked like he was going to rebel, that same son, they had to drag from a 5-story building to be able to go to school. Dragging him literally is now a child who is so together, so put together. It's not particularly about the situation, right? It is actually about you. Anytime that you think about anything, think about yourself. How do I begin to change? When people tell me, oh, but my spouse will not buy into this, oh, it will be difficult, start with you. Parenting is about you. That's my most favorite quote. And I'm sure that when you're listening to me, you're not in the inner circle, you hear parenting is about you. You're wondering, what the heck is she saying? Hey, it's not me. These children are too stubborn. I don't know what it is that they are doing. I don't know what it is that these children are actually saying, but it's just these children, it's not me. Dear parents, I submit to you today that if you're able to walk your journey intentionally, if you do not get transformed in the next few months, then come back to me can say this thing is not working. Thank you again for sharing with me and for joining me today. It's been amazing. It's been awesome. And I look forward to having you right in the yard. 100,000 naira, and you are able to join the yard, right? Just for 100,000 naira. If you decide that you want to wait until you have problems, it's okay. You pay me 100,000 naira per hour. And I do not even think that in 2025, I want to sit for an hour consulting for 100,000 naira. So yes, you heard me right. It is not going to be 100,000 naira because my time is my life. And I'm not ready to bear my life just like that and just, walk through like that. There's so much that my time, would offer. So take this as your cue. Join the yard today and it will change your life. Thank you again, Buki. If you're listening to me, share all of that flowers right in the comment section for Buki. Buki has done us well today. See you tomorrow again. And did I tell you that we are going to be, sorry, I think that my Alrighty, sorry about that. Of course, don't forget that we're in Lagos. We're in Lagos. We're hitting the city of Eko tomorrow. We're hitting Lagos. Do not want to miss the Lagos train. If you are in Lagos, don't miss it. If you are in Lagos, be there. If you are in Lagos, find yourself in that place today. Do not miss being in Lagos. Do not miss being the summit. And of course, don't miss being in the inner circle. It will literally save your life. I know what I'm saying. Trust me when I say so. See you in the yard. And Lagos Summit, see you in Lagos. Somebody sent me a chat today and said, my parents are going to be at the Lagos Summit. My dad just sent me a message. I have ironed my clothes and it's ready to be at the summit. I want to go and listen to your coach. His father is 75 or so. If 75-year-old men are getting prepared to come and see what they can do right their wrongs, and how about you? What are you doing? To see you there.
Remember the buzz and excitement of the TIP Abuja Summit? Full of energy, and the engagement was incredible. Now we're bringing the same enthusiasm to Lagos. Join us on September 21st, 2024 at the KICC Prayer Dome, Oki Lane, Maryland, Lagos for the Intentional Parents Academy Lagos Summit. Just like the TIP Abuja Summit event, this summit promises to be a game changer. You experience dynamic sessions, connect with inspiring coaches, network with fellow parents and professionals. And here's the best part. This event is completely free. Your access has been fully covered. Bring your loved ones, invite your friends and family. Make sure every parent you know benefits from this amazing event. Are you a vendor into any family products and service? Reach out to the team for more inquiries to get a vendor slot to display your products or services to thousands of audience.
Have you informed and invited every parent you know to the TIP Summit Lagos 2024 happening at the KICC Prayer Dome, Maryland, Lagos?
This summit is designed specifically for you, whether you are a new parent, seasoned parent, or even thinking about becoming a parent in the future. The Intentional Parents Academy have put up a full day of insightful session where we will equip you with actionable steps, proven strategies to make your parenting more impactful, intentional, and rewarding.
Join us for the TIP Summit featuring Coach Ebuka Ede, Chidozie Eze, Etima Ume, David Folahomi, and the governor himself, Coach Kunle Ologe, and the convener, Coach Wendy Ologe.
And guess what? Registration is totally free. All you need to do is to click the link below to secure a spot.
Invite your friend, family, and any parents that you know. This particular event is for everyone. including people from the nearby states.
If you are a business owner, this is a fantastic opportunity for you to connect to large audience. We still have vendor slots available. All you need to do is reach out to us. See you at the TIP Lagos Summit on the September 21st. See you there.